Alright, where we left off, getting these pieces out. Uh, Notice that a lot of the ceramic shell is left in these little plugs. Um, that I actually tested out. I took to a pressure washer, 3,500 psi, 5 gallons per minute. So, a really heavy duty pressure washer. Uh, I was able to get it out of these plugs, but only if I had removed these pieces first. Um, Simply put, all this venting just got in the way of being able to direct the pressure washer. So the best way to go about that is set up your pressure washer. So you got your little gun here. You got get your little stream right there. Grab onto a piece with some clamps or something like that, and then just move that into the stream, and it knocks out that little plug pretty easily, fairly easily. Going on to cleanup. I went down to work at the shop, and because we're not allowed to have a grinder, we're not allowed to have grinders of any kind. So a bench grinder is definitely out of the question, but I do have a grinder hidden that I'm able to put in the vise and make a bench grinder. I set that up, and I was able to just cut off these little pieces. That worked pretty well. Some of these vent fingers, I'm calling them fingers, were a little close together, so next time I would try to evenly space these to allow me the chance to grind everything away much more easily. When I got the pieces out, I ended up having to take one of the vents off to allow me access to pull out the tree, and I was just left with the tree afterwards where I could cut off these pieces individually. They came off. This was actually, I have a lot of really crappy pictures because my camera wasn't focusing, but the pieces came out pretty nicely, requiring some cleanup work on the vents. Again, if we did this again, I would try to make the vents much more low profile to eliminate the cleaning, the cleanup, but we were actually able to clean up the corners fairly well. Some of the things that we learned, I'll finish up with a few remarks on that. Wax is warm enough to make ABS plastic pliable, so keep that in account if you are manufacturing a pattern from an actual Rubik's Cube. I really liked the integrity of the part. We know that the pieces will fit together. Unfortunately, because some of them were damaged and some of them just did not cast very well, we were unable to make an actual Rubik's Cube, working one at least. So this is a project, perhaps for summer break, actually getting pieces that will fit together. And I'm really excited to actually finish it when I've got a little more time to pay a little more attention to detail and get things right. Another thing we learned, kind of dumb, just keep track of your drag and cope alignment in sand casting, otherwise it's not going to work. The ceramic shell gives a very high part integrity. Different elevations within the mold can produce different results. Let me scroll back up to there. You can see up in this portion, this piece was perhaps the most beautiful piece that came off. Then you look down here, and it looks different. Basically what was happening as it poured, the aluminum would come in through here. It filled up this lower cup. Once it got up to here, it would start pouring down through here. And then it filled up the ring, started filling up these fingers. And then once it got back up, then this level started and coming back down. Filled up, came back down, filled up, came back down, until everything finally met up at the top. clearly, the fact that I'm not sure if it was a temperature. We did not have any temperature measuring device available to us at the day we cast, so I don't know if the metal had cooled down enough so that it cast beautifully like this, or if it had something to do with just the fact that these guys were down and had a lot more heat put on them for a longer period of time. Like I said, I don't know. I'd like to do a little more research and figure out. We may actually just need to completely reconfigure the way we do this tree or abandon a tree altogether. I'm not sure. This, like I said, it was the first time. I'm happy with some of the results. I want to figure out why some of the results did not work as well, and then produce an actual cube. One of the other lessons, oh yes, when we were calling around to local shops, now we could have gotten any of these chemicals online, but we didn't have time to wait for shipping and things like that. When we were calling local shops, asking for the specific chemicals to get us our specific patina colors, a lot of them would not sell to us. If we had pretended that we were affiliated with UW and we were part of a department or something, they might have, but we wouldn't have been able to produce documentation to that effect. Long story short, a lot of the chemicals in patina are apparently dangerous enough that they just don't let average Joes buy them. And if you look online, small 8-ounce vials are, $15 in some cases. I don't remember the chemicals off the top of my head. Kristopher did a lot of research in that, and he was the one who came up with a list of what we needed. Yeah, so if you have more time, you're able to get these chemicals, but not locally, because the only things we could have gotten local were inks, and the idea wasn't an ink. The idea was impart a color to the metal itself, not over the face of the metal. So I'll go ahead and finish this up. We learned actually a lot, not just these 5 things, but I've been talking about things all through the project, and there's some things skipping my mind right now. But this was a fun project, huge learning experience, and we're gonna take what we learned and hopefully within the next month or so design an actual working Rubik's Cube.